Every single time in Bitcoin's history that September closed green, October also closed green. Are we about to break history? In today's video, we'll be talking about exactly this, going over the recent Bitcoin price action, talking about Ethereum, and what I think could be happening next. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Now, we are currently in the negative, only about 2.5%. But does this mean that October will actually end up being green for Bitcoin despite the recent bloodbath? Let me just give you a recap of the events. We started off October with a very nice pump. People were getting extremely excited. October is here. Then, of course, after that all-time high, we had a massive liquidation event, and then everyone pivoted to the bear market has started. If you've been watching the channel, you know that this isn't my base case currently, especially with the price action that we've been seeing. Green September in 2024, green October in 2024, green September in 2023, green October in 2023. Same exact thing in 2016 and 2015, which were the only periods in the market where September was green and October was also green. Let's see how this plays out. Right now, if we take a look at the Bitcoin price action, you can see that we did indeed manage to hold the key level that we discussed in yesterday's video, 107.2K as support. This is the weekly time frame, of course, and this was pivotal for us to hold. Let me just give you a recap of yesterday's video. Right now, if the weekly candle were to close like this, I would say that we have a high likelihood of getting a little bit of a pump starting in this upcoming week. And that is exactly what happened. Right now, you can see that Bitcoin did get a little bit of a pump, and today we actually crossed $111,000. Yesterday, we were at 107. So, does this mean we are back in business? It's time to just explode much higher from here? Or do we have to consider other things? To be perfectly honest, I think that it would be foolish to say that we are in the clear quite yet. What I'm really looking at here is the bull market support band. You know that historically, when we tap into this bull market support band, from the upside going down, we tend to hold it as support. However, if we are attacking it from the downside to up, then at that point in time, it can actually act as resistance. So it's very important that we go ahead and find our way across this band over here, come back, hold it as support, and then we are in the clear. And in my opinion, that would be risk on season. At this point in time though, I cannot confirm that we are out of the woods quite yet. I really want to see this level hold as support. So if I zoom out here on the weekly time frame, as I just discussed, tapping into this bull market support band historically gives us very strong support. However, if we do end up losing it, which is exactly what happened recently during this liquidation event, we tap into the next key level, which is crucial for the bull market's integrity, and that is the 50-week moving average. This is the purple line right here, and you can see that time and time again in this bull market cycle, whenever the bull market support band was lost and we managed to hold on to the 50-week moving average, we went ahead and moved higher. You can see Exhibit A held the bull market support band, and then we dropped below it, tapped into the moving average, pumped the 50-week moving average, that is. Same thing over here. When we touched the 50-week moving average, we got a very nice bounce, which created another leg in the market. Then, more recently, same thing happened. And after this liquidation event, where did we tap into? That 50-week moving average. We got 2 wicks down here, and it looks like we are trying to hold that level as support. Again, we're not in the clear quite yet, but these are some early promising signs in my honest opinion. And if you're in my community, you know that I went ahead and entered an Ethereum long trade right below $3,800. At the time of recording this video, we are back above 4K. The reason I went ahead and longed Ethereum is because honestly, it looked more bullish than Bitcoin, because while Bitcoin completely capitulated below its bull market support band and it's taking a bit of time here to try and break above it, we can see that Ethereum managed to hold its bull market support band as support. This is a very positive sign. Now, if you want access to all of my trades where I post how I'm currently navigating this market, please remember that you have the first link in my description down below. The only thing that's in there is my own analysis on a daily basis outside of my YouTube videos, as well as when I go ahead and enter some trades. So if that interests you, make sure to click the first link in my description down below, DM me the word premium on Telegram, and I would be happy to onboard you. Just a quick note on that. The only requirement is that you sign up with one of my affiliate exchange links and start trading on one of those platforms to get access to my free group. So you can join me on Bluffin, and you can also join me on Weeks. Typically, I would recommend Bluffin because I've also been in a Bitcoin dominance long trade, which I've been showing on the channel time and time again. The reason I'm in this trade is because I still think that Bitcoin will likely outperform the rest of the market. Maybe not Ethereum, but for the rest of the market as a whole, Bitcoin is likely to outperform. Whether we go up or down, I think Bitcoin dominance will go up. And you can see here that we got to bounce at that crucial level, which we've been covering on the channel at length. However, as I said, I still think that we go ahead and fill this wick to the upside, much like we managed to go ahead and fill more of that downside wick for Bitcoin. We talked about these two scenarios, and right now they're actually playing out right in front of our eyes. Pretty awesome to see. Now for Bitcoin dominance, it's very difficult to tell where the top could be, but the best case scenario, as I've continued to repeat, is Bitcoin leading the way in the rest of this bull market. Hopefully we can consolidate above that previous all-time high and not just get another nasty wick, which we got several times right around $126,000. But if we can manage to get to the point where Bitcoin can move much higher out of this and we go ahead and hold this region as support, so say we chop around, we pump, hold this level as support, then Bitcoin can distribute in this region, this would probably be a much better environment for altcoins, and that's when I would be expecting Bitcoin dominance to likely start dropping. So we could still have a little bit more of an uptrend here for Bitcoin dominance, but consider the fact that we are still trying to get back above its own bull market support band. These are very, very critical levels. Now, I also wanted to show you the total crypto market cap because that one is also flirting with his bull market support band. And if we can manage to close above here, which is also one of the previous all-time highs, I do think that we are indeed good for continuation to the upside. Now, what about Bitcoin? What levels am I looking at? So outside of its bull market support band, more clearly on the chart, what you really want to see here is for us to reclaim one of those previous all-time highs. And which all-time high am I talking about? Well, it just so happens to coincide perfectly with the bull market support band. And that is this green line over here, that previous all-time high set in May of 2025. So if we can break above $112,000 and manage to hold this level as support, we will look good for continuation because it's a key confluence zone. One, the bull market support band, of course, but two, that previous all-time high. And we would find our way above this value area low, which is very, very important for the entirety of this range. So in my opinion, it's very, very clear. Bitcoin needs to hold above this key confluence zone if we are to see more upside. And if we do hold there, it's at that point in time that I think Ethereum will absolutely fly and we will be making a new all-time high for Ethereum, hence my ETH long trade. Now, what else? Pre-market is indeed green, something to consider here because if stocks go up, we likely see Bitcoin continue to recover. And we can also see that the Bitcoin liquidation map has a lot of liquidity to the upside. Now, there is some liquidity starting to get piled up to the downside. And what I want you to consider is if we take a look at the 30-day time frame, a lot of liquidity is right around $109,000. At the time of recording this video, we're right around 111. So given the fact that we've gotten some pretty nice relief over the past few days, would it really surprise you if we go ahead and end up getting a little bit of a rejection at the bull market support band, we liquidate a lot of those longs at 109, and then we go ahead and make our move? Bears are very vocal here, but I want to remind you that there's still 2 times more cumulative short liquidation leverage in the market compared to cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market. And as I said, if we go ahead and liquidate these longs at around $109,000, it's at that point in time that there would be even more liquidity to the upside to be grabbed because more people would consider going aggressively short, thinking that perhaps this is just a bearish retest. However, to be perfectly clear, we need to hold above these levels right around here if we are to see more continuation. Otherwise, I may have to flip my stance. But at this point in time, things are looking relatively positive. Over the past few days, we've been getting a little bit of a relief here. And remember, when we got this liquidation event, my base case was that we would likely fill a lot more of that wick. Now, I never said we would fill the wick in its entirety, but I said we would at least surpass 50% of that wick. And what do you notice? We did indeed fill 50% of that wick. This, in my books, is good enough for continuation to the upside. Let's see how it plays out. I also wanted to share a couple of tweets here. We have James Wynn, the legend. He basically predicted that when Bitcoin is at 107, which was essentially when I made my video yesterday, we will slip back down to 103, sideways for 24 hours, drop to between 95 to 97K, rebound to 103 to 104, get rejected, sharp drop to 88K to 92K, real panic, bear market vibes come in, we capitulate to below $70,000. Look, this guy is notoriously wrong, so I would take everything he says with a massive grain of salt. Every single time that he goes long, if you're long, you should probably be worried. Every single time that he goes short, if you're shorting, you should also be worried. But because he's so bearish, and I am currently long in this market, this is actually looking more and more positive in my opinion. That being said, in the short term, I still think that there's a chance that we go ahead and liquidate some of those aggressive late longs right around 109. Let's see how the price action develops. The next tweet I wanted to show you here is something that's important for you to consider. Now, I've shared this guy on the channel before. He is notoriously bearish, but I do agree with his point here. You shouldn't be thinking about this cycle anymore. You should be preparing for the next one. The thing is, it's very, very important that in this current cycle, you are already preparing for the next one. Start building your savings and protecting your capital for when the real opportunity shows up in the next 24 months. Every dollar you waste now on stupid things will be the money you'll desperately wish you had later. Completely agree with this. Maybe not the first part where he says you shouldn't be thinking about this cycle, because I still think we have one last leg higher. However, you should be looking to maximize profits, be aggressive with your profit taking, create as much cash as possible. So in the bear market bottom, you can buy a ton of Bitcoin. And believe me, I still think we will have a pretty significant bear market correction. There's nothing telling me otherwise at this point in time. Maybe it won't be an 85% drop. Maybe it's only a 70% drop, but you can rest assured that I will be buying a ton of Bitcoin at those levels with all of the profits that I've made in this current market cycle. And that sums up today's quick video. As per yesterday's analysis, I was expecting a pump. Ethereum pumped, Bitcoin pumped. As a matter of fact, most of the market got a relief rally. But to see proper continuation here, we need to reclaim that bull market support band, the value area low, and that previous all-time high, $112,000, a massive confluence zone. If we can get above there and hold it as support, things look excellent for continuation. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.